Sometimes I say she's an octopus, she doesn't, it gets every ball. She's always there. She doesn't give up. Big serve. Sometimes it's a bit annoying when someone is serving well. She can go anywhere to get any ball. I mean, she already won.
Hmm.
I think two Grand Slams now, and a lot of 1000s, and she's been playing good. She's been at the great level with the same technique.
Here's a polished, dramatic rewrite of your script, keeping the excitement and tension, but making it smoother and more credible. Ons Jabeur, former Grand Slam finalist and the first African and Arab woman to reach world #2 in the WTA rankings, has just made a statement that's turning heads across the tennis world. And it's all about Coco Gauff. In a recent interview, Jabeur didn't hesitate when asked about the toughest opponent she has ever faced on tour. After years of competing against the very best, from Grand Slam champions to multiple world #1s, her answer surprised many. Coco Gauff. Let that sink in. This is a player who has battled on the biggest stages in tennis. She's reached major finals. She's faced power hitters, tactical masterminds, and elite defenders. She's played under the brightest lights against the sport's most dominant stars. And yet, when asked who presents the most difficult challenge across the net, Jabeur pointed to Gauff. But she didn't stop there. What truly sparked conversation was her explanation. Jabeur highlighted Gauff's movement, her court coverage, her speed, her defensive transitions, describing it as being on another level. According to Jabeur, the way Gauff tracks down balls, extends rallies, and turns defense into offense creates a unique kind of pressure that's extremely hard to manage. Then came the comparison that raised even more eyebrows. Jabeur suggested that, when it comes specifically to movement and court coverage, even Aryna Sabalenka, the reigning world #1 and one of the most dominant power players in the game, doesn't match the level Gauff brings in that department. That's not a small statement. Sabalenka is known for her explosive ground strokes and physical strength. She's built her dominance on power and aggression. But Jabeur's point wasn't about raw hitting. It was about mobility, anticipation, and defensive intensity. Naturally, comments like that don't go unnoticed. In elite tennis circles, comparisons between top players always spark debate. Fans analyze every word. Media outlets amplify every quote. And camps around the tour take note. Whether you agree or not, one thing is clear. Jabeur's remarks reinforce what many players already know. Facing Coco Gauff is a physical and tactical puzzle unlike any other. And when a former world #2 and Grand Slam finalist calls you the toughest opponent she's ever faced, that says something. The conversation is heating up. The rivalry narratives are building. And if these players meet on a big stage again, the storyline just became even more compelling.
Her to every corner that she hates.
Yeah,
She
you
gets
break her
super
rhythm.
frustrated.
Yeah, yeah.
And if she's very fast and doesn't let me do my shots, that's very frustrating to me.
Ons, with you, I feel like when you played her, you really were able to take over her speed very well. I feel like the more you played her, the better you got in control of, even when she was dominating.
Now, before anyone brushes this off as just another headline-grabbing quote, let's remember something important. Ons Jabeur isn't speaking as a commentator. She's speaking as a competitor. She hasn't analyzed Coco Gauff and Aryna Sabalenka from a studio desk. She's stood across the net from both of them. She's felt their pace, their power, their pressure. She's faced them in high-stakes battles where every rally matters. This isn't speculation. This is first-hand experience. According to Jabeur, Sabalenka, as dominant and powerful as she is, can be tested by extending rallies and forcing her to move relentlessly. If you make her hit that extra ball and then another, cracks can appear. And we've seen it before. Sabalenka plays with fire. Intensity is part of what makes her dangerous. But intensity can sometimes spill over into frustration. There have been moments where emotions become visible. A racket smash, a sharp reaction, a dip in rhythm. Jabeur's point wasn't an attack. It was tactical insight. She was essentially saying that constant pressure, relentless movement, and disciplined defense can disrupt Sabalenka's flow. And according to her, no one executes that game plan better than Coco Gauff. When speaking about Gauff, Jabeur emphasized something different: output, work rate, coverage. She described the American star's movement as exceptional, the ability to chase down balls that look like clean winners, to stretch rallies past their breaking point, and to turn defense into instant counterattack. Then came the stat-backed context that makes her perspective even harder to ignore. Jabeur has beaten Sabalenka multiple times in her career, including victories on major stages like Roland Garros and Wimbledon. These weren't minor tournaments. These were Grand Slam battles played under the highest pressure. In those matchups, Jabeur demonstrated she could figure Sabalenka out. She could absorb the power, extend exchanges, and disrupt the rhythm enough to come out on top. But against Coco Gauff, the dynamic shifts. Even during Jabeur's peak stretch, when she was reaching consecutive Grand Slam finals and playing the best tennis of her life, she struggled to consistently solve the Gauff puzzle. That contrast is telling. And then came the analogy that perfectly captured her experience. Jabeur described Coco Gauff as an octopus. An octopus. In her words, it feels like Gauff has 8 arms on the court. Every ball you think is past her somehow comes back. Every angle you try to exploit gets covered. Every rally you expect to finish extends into something longer and more exhausting. She doesn't give you free points. She doesn't let shots escape easily. She forces you to earn everything. That kind of defensive elasticity wears players down physically and mentally. And when that description comes from a former world number 2 who has faced the very best in the game, it carries weight, because this isn't hype. It's respect from someone who knows exactly how hard it is to win at the top level.
She doesn't give up. Big serve, Sometimes it's a bit annoying when someone is serving well. She can go anywhere to get any ball.
Here's a polished, high-energy rewrite of your section. Dramatic, structured, and powerful while keeping it credible and engaging. That octopus description might be one of the most accurate breakdowns of Coco Gauff's game we've ever heard. Anyone who has watched her closely understands exactly what Ons Jabeur meant. Gauff's court coverage is extraordinary. Her speed isn't just quick, it's explosive. Her anticipation allows her to read patterns early. Balls that would fly past almost anyone else somehow come back with interest. That's what makes her so difficult to beat. Against Coco, 1 great shot isn't enough. 2 might not be enough. Sometimes you need 4 or 5 perfectly executed strokes just to finish a single point. And that's exhausting. Physically exhausting because rallies stretch longer than expected. Mentally exhausting because you start overthinking. Strategically exhausting because your normal winners keep coming back. She forces opponents to hit closer to the lines. She forces them to take bigger risks. And eventually, under that pressure, errors creep in. Ons Jabeur knows this firsthand. Now, while comparisons between elite players always spark debate, especially when Aryna Sabalenka is involved, the rivalry between Gauff and Sabalenka has been defined by big-stage matchups. Their battles have unfolded on some of tennis' biggest courts, under immense pressure. Those matches weren't routine wins. They were high-intensity finals where composure, tactics, and resilience mattered just as much as power. That's where Gauff has shown something special: her ability to adjust mid-match, absorb pressure, and raise her level when the stakes are highest. And then there's the ongoing discussion about technique. Critics often analyze Gauff's forehand mechanics or compare her stroke production to Sabalenka's explosive power. Sabalenka is widely regarded as one of the cleanest and most forceful hitters on tour. Her ball striking is textbook and intimidating. But tennis history has never been decided by textbook form alone. Ons Jabeur addressed that idea directly. Results matter more than aesthetics. Gauff's technique isn't a flaw, it's hers. It's the product of years of development, refinement, and adaptation. She has built her success around her strengths: movement, defense, competitive intelligence, and mental resilience. There is nothing in her performances that suggests her style limits her. If anything, her unique mechanics combined with elite athleticism make her harder to prepare for. Opponents can't simply practice against a standard template. They have to solve a constantly moving puzzle. And that's the deeper point. Tennis greatness doesn't come in one mold. Some champions overpower. Some outmaneuver.
Some outlast.
Coco Gauff does something rare. She outworks you within the point. She extends rallies beyond comfort. She defends until doubt creeps in. She counters at the exact moment you overcommit. The idea that technical purity is the only path to success has been disproven time and time again in tennis history. Many of the sport's greatest champions had unconventional elements in their games. What ultimately matters is performance under pressure. And Gauff has repeatedly shown she can deliver when it counts. That's why Jabeur's octopus analogy resonates so strongly. Because it's not about highlight reel power. It's about suffocating consistency. It's about forcing opponents to hit one more ball than they want to. And at the highest level of tennis, that's often the difference between very good and truly elite. Here's a powerful, polished rewrite of your closing section. Dramatic, balanced, and perfect for a YouTube ending. The results speak for themselves. Coco Gauff isn't just winning matches, she's winning the ones that define careers. She's lifting Grand Slam trophies. She's delivering on the biggest stages. And she's doing it against the very best players in the world. Now, let's be clear. Aryna Sabalenka is an extraordinary champion. Reaching world number 1 doesn't happen by accident. Winning multiple Grand Slam titles requires relentless work, elite power, and incredible consistency. Her dominance and explosive style have earned her place among the game's elite. No one is taking that away from her. But when we zoom in on the rivalry, especially the moments that shape legacies, the conversation becomes fascinating. In regular tour events, both players have traded victories. But in the matches that live forever in the history books, the Grand Slam finals, the edge belongs to Coco. 2 major finals. 2 wins for Gauff. Those aren't routine matches. Those are pressure cookers. Those are moments when the lights are brightest, the expectations are highest, and the tension is suffocating. And in those moments, Gauff has risen. That says something about her mental strength. The psychological factor here is real. In elite sports, patterns matter. When one player consistently wins on the biggest stage, that history lingers. It becomes part of the narrative. Breaking through that mental wall can be one of the toughest challenges in professional competition. That doesn't diminish Sabalenka. It highlights how razor-thin the margins are at the top. And this is why Ons Jabeur's statement carries weight. She wasn't trying to spark drama. She wasn't dismissing Sabalenka's achievements. She was offering insight. Insight from someone who has faced both women across the net in high-stakes battles under championship pressure. She knows what Sabalenka's power feels like. She knows how overwhelming that aggression can be. But she also knows what it's like to rally against Gauff, to hit what feels like a winner and watch it come back, to extend exchanges beyond comfort, to feel physically and mentally worn down by relentless defense. Based on that experience, her conclusion was simple. Coco Gauff presents the tougher challenge. And right now, when you look at trajectory, big match wins, and mental composure under pressure, the evidence supports the argument. But here's the exciting part. This rivalry is far from finished. Both players are still young.
Both are evolving.
Both are capable of dominating the sport for years to come. The next chapter could swing either way. And that's what makes this era of women's tennis so compelling. So what do you think? Do you agree with Ons Jabeur that Coco Gauff is the toughest opponent in the WTA right now? Or does Aryna Sabalenka deserve more credit at the very top? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this breakdown, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel for more deep dives into the biggest stories in tennis, and I'll see you in the next one.